what's up? It's your boy Randy Stress. Welcome to the Stress-Free Zone. As you know, this is a place where you get to meet celebrities, athletes, CEOs on a more personal level. Today, I have the pleasure of having Cirilo Manego III. Got to make sure I put that third on there. The CIO at Black with No Chaser. Normally, I would go into the schooling and all of that, but today I'm going to do it a little bit different because you said something that I thought was interesting. But first, let me say welcome to the show.
Appreciate it, man. Glad to be here, Randy. Glad to be on the show.
The only reason I didn't mention your schooling today because you said education comes in two forms, formal and informal. And I know that you also said that FAMU forced you out of your shell. So because of that, I wanted to kind of ask you, do you have something that each school kind of brought out in you to kind of got you to where you are right now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's funny because I think a lot of times, while I think education kind of informs us in a more, I guess, theoretical manner, it's something about the informal, which is sometimes what you learn on the street when you're growing up, the interactions and between people, interpersonal skills. I think that there are certain things that, like I said, school can teach you. You can learn some of those things, but it's something about being on your own and being able to also growing up in neighborhoods like I grew up in New Orleans, which would always say, man, like we always had one foot in the classroom and one foot on the streets because either way, like if you had two in one place, you could be dead. And so it was really a way to kind of wear different hats, as a former athlete, but a student athlete who really positioned school as number one in my life over sports. And but at the same time, though, I had to live in the same streets that everybody else. I had to walk the same streets, run in the same streets. You know what I mean? So I think that was part of like that informal side of education that a lot of people don't like to talk about, I feel like, but that really has helped me more as an adult than even sometimes more formal education.
I agree with that because I'm from the south side of Chicago and I know it gets rough out there. And I have learned more from the streets as far as how to carry yourself in a way that keeps people from bothering you on one side, and that on the other side keeps other people who from being scared of you when you come through there. So you got to find that kind of common balance because I've walked through hoods and my friends like, you just walk past thugs like it's nothing. Treat them like normal people.
Yeah, that's it.
With these doctors and talk to them like nothing. Okay, you just meet them where they at. It's that simple.
And I think that's really a good point you make. Is that I think meeting folk on a level. I think some people get a bunch of education and forget where they come from, right? I was reminded really quickly, tell you a quick story. Cat that lived around the way just came home. And so in the 10 years he was gone, I done went through, all types of education, formal and informal, but more so speaking to the formal. And I go around there tooting around my education and this, that, and the third. He said, yeah, young blood, let me stop you for a second. He was like, don't nobody give a damn about where you went to school at. He was like, look, I tell you what, I run circle around you right now in terms of just street sense. But also, he said, I read more than you. I guarantee. He said, you letting me be incarcerated look at me in a particular way. And this is it's just life lessons like that when you realize, hey, look, man, you ain't too far from being exactly where I'm at, especially in America. When I watched the clip by James Baldwin the other day, I believe he was outside the country and he was getting interviewed by somebody. It could have been somewhere in a European country. And the clip been playing around in Black History Month. It's one of the first times I've seen that James Baldwin clip. And so he's talking about being, he's like, he said, I'm not an exotic victim. He said, now I don't know what he's going to say, talking to a friend he was with. He said, I don't know what he's going to say, but I'm going to just tell you this. By being him, meaning in his black skin, just by literally waking up today or tomorrow, his life could be taken away. And I think that being still the case in America, even, 60 plus years or so, 50, 60 years later, is still, to me, the reason why street smarts a lot of times will keep you alive than formal education.
I agree with that because I was joking around with someone and I said, it's sad that it's kind of true. As a Black man in America, you're one bad decision away from jail at all times. And most of the time, it's not a decision that other people will go to jail for, but it's something that you'll go to jail for. So,
for sure.
I'm always trying to teach my youngins like, hey, just kind of chill out, man. Sometimes you got to think this out before you just react. You're going to get some ignorant people in your face. You can't punch everybody in the face because you're going to have trouble and they're going to go home and act like they didn't do anything wrong.
And the crazy part about that, and I put a cap on this one, is because I don't want to get too far down a rabbit hole of energy.
Right.
But I will say that it's funny that when you try to tell law enforcement, especially as a black man or a black woman, when you try to tell law enforcement about your rights, and you're like, this is my rights. Now your job is to uphold the law and the Constitution, right? But yet you get mad when I tell you what I know to be true. It's almost like as if you're the only person or group of people in this country that has the rights to information. I got the same information you got. We talking about the law. That's black letter law. I'm just letting you know, just in case that you may step aside or step beside yourself. I don't even want to go there with you. And so I think that I think the worst part about it is that black folk, marginalized folk, low income folk too, though, right? Preyed on by police in a way where, Brian Stevenson said that it's better to be rich and criminal than be innocent and poor. And that's really that's a fact in America that needs to change as quickly as as I could take my next breath. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, and that brings me to something really that I really like, the Speak Your Mind platform. I love that it's a place where you can talk about anything, like anything. Who came up with that?
Talking about Black with No Chaser?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Black with No Chaser, man. So it came to me. So I was in law school, and a guy that was trying to mentor me was now the CEO now of the company. We're not too far from age, but he had been practicing for a little bit. And at the time, I wanted to get into sports entertainment law. I'm trying to speed this up a bit. And so, some years later after I graduated, he circled back to me because I was doing a lot of advocacy work. I was telling a lot of stories, and he was like, "Yo, bro, come be involved." But before I was even actually involved, it was him and Tyson and Chuck on the campus of Tougaloo, another HBCU. So shout out to all my HBCU folk out there. And so they already had the idea moving, but never really formalized it from a legal standpoint. So I would say Black with No Chaser was started well before they even knew Black with No Chaser, which was in our hearts, right? I feel like to in large part, what I see as a black man as Black with No Chaser, even before Black with No Chaser was an actual nomenclature or the name of an organization. But beyond those three brothers, then it came to me, and so on and so forth. And so November 2017, it was born, and we've been doing our thing. And I think that it speaks to, you don't have to live in this double consciousness. And as Black folk in America, you can center joy as a form of resistance, and you can talk about how you appreciate your Blackness, and you can know that your Blackness is going to be safe there, and building community and engaging with one another, and not sensationalize police brutality and extrajudicial killings of our people, but more so telling the stories in a way that humanizes the person that's being that's been wrong, but also gives love back to the community and builds with community again. And so that's really the difference between us and a lot of, like, I would say, media brands, because a lot of media brands just hit for the news for news sake. We're here to actually get the story straight. And I think that because we're doing that, last thing I'll say about Black with No Chaser is, because we're doing that, what I call it now, we were pretty much doing article mixtapes. I don't know if you're familiar with Wayne, when Wayne had all the droughts and the squads back in the day, and he was rapping over everybody's beat, and it was so dope to the point where you forgot the person almost that beat was for. We were writing articles on top of Facebook articles. And when I say Facebook, I mean CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, local news, whatever, regional news. We were writing these articles on top of articles, and they were getting shared. And so then those articles began to get more viral because we were setting the story straight. And because of that, Black with No Chaser really became a thing, and so-called, and now we a staple in Black culture.
I love it because it's about controlling the narrative. That's what it all comes down to. Everyone else wants to try to control our narrative, and they like to paint us as everything but what we are. I always go through this with Black men when we have these interviews. We've all seen we either a thug or we're a nerd, and they don't realize there's a lot in between there.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to get a little personal thing going. So I'm gonna ask you the question that I normally kick my show off. But before I kick my show off, please tell the people what school you went to, because I know some people that went to your universities and they're gonna yell at me because they're gonna go, "Why didn't you show love to my university?"
No. Yeah, for sure, man. Florida A&M University, man, in Tallahassee, Florida, on the highest hill of seven hills. So, yeah, man, that's it. The illustrious FAMU. That's right.
Yeah, I know. I've interviewed a few people from FAMU, and I didn't want them to go, "Oh, you hating on FAMU now?" No.
Nah, yeah, no, it's all good.
Look,
I even wore my Kelly Green today.
We came down there and did a show, and I had a ball when we came down there to FAMU. I had a good time with some of the brothers. But anyway, the question that I normally ask people is, what do you want people to know about you?
Man of the people.
That's What's it. That?
Man of the people. I live for the people, to be honest. Like, that's why a lot of times answering this question is always a real weird one for me, because people ask me, what do I want? I'm like, well, hell, what do the people want? I mean, what is it that I need to do to get involved in the way in which there truly is a real thing as rising tides? It is not one person shoots across the stream and another, and they tear the bridge down, and all of a sudden everybody looking over like, damn, what happened to us? It's like, you know, it's true. I know people say this all the time, especially black folk. We'll be like, yeah, man, if one of us ain't free, we all ain't free. But I truly believe that. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and diminish one of my brothers and sisters for anything. So the whole point of my being, I believe, is, and I don't know about everybody else, but my being is to be a man of the people and a voice for the people. That's part of the reason why I went to law school anyway, to stand the gap for people, especially our folk. And so as long as I can do that, as long as I got breath in my body, that's what I'll be known for.
And I love that, because we definitely need people like us to have our back and stand up for us, because it's not that we can't, but some people just don't know how to. And it's good to have someone who has the knowledge to go, okay, look, this is how we do it. And that brings me to something else that I noticed that you're trying to do, and that's making politics cool. And I love the concept of that, because we have so many people, and I know you've heard it a million times, my vote don't count. Look, I just saw this election. They stole the election. And you're like, they stole it because it was close. They can't steal it if it's a victory. They can only steal it if it's like this. You know, what do you guys do to try to make politics cool for people who really think they don't matter?
So, like, I started doing this on my own page, which is really kind of separate from BWNC. And the reason why I started doing it, because on January 6th, my video went viral, and I'm not sure if y'all even seen it, but I was the dude that was in the mask at the Capitol with his fist in the air, and it was shading like Questlove and Rosario Dawson, and it literally touched probably, I mean, people in Australia, Africa, the UK, Asian countries, I mean, whatever, right? And in all parts of North America and even South America with that video. And what it told me is that people were looking for a voice that sounded like them, a voice that looked like them, somebody that they felt real, that felt like the same type of feelings we've been feeling when we're looking into politics in the face and trying to figure out if this is for us, while at the same time it's been playing us. And so, like, you know, for me, somebody that's very, who's knowledgeable in politics, I didn't want to make politics another wonky policy session on how we talking about, you know, how do we get to a bill and, you know, that kind of thing. I think that's cool. But I think folks also, I think the point when I was organizing and still organizing and doing in the progressive movement, but I'm playing a little bit different role now. I'm not working for anyone. I'm with my own company. But when I was in there, I realized that when you can make an issue or a set of issues real to people, and it makes sense, and not just from a federal level, but on a local level, and you get to the heart of like what wakes them up in the morning, why are they going to the polls, and it's a lot of time not because of politicians, because politicians really leave with credentials, but don't really actually set forth a vision for people, because a lot of times, you know, they weren't about donors, or are they saying the right thing? And so if you worry about saying the right thing instead of saying what's on your heart, then that's not your vision. And that's why because people caught up in the politics, what's going to get me to win, and not thinking about, okay, well, there's such thing as good losses. And so if you can normalize something, maybe you can come back a second round, offer something new instead of the same old type of way of, you know, building community, then I think that's a good thing. And so again, it's like we got to redefine what we look at as a win. We look at losses and start spending some more of that political capital, or no matter how illusory people may feel like that is. And that's really about make politics cool.
Okay. I'm loving that, man. I'm loving this, dude. It's so funny because you're like a really serious dude at times. When I checked your page, because I'm following you now on IG, and you have so much fun. And I was looking at it, and I'm like, man, I'm loving to see you have all this fun, because what it says is you love what you're doing. You can't have this kind of fun if you're doing the kind of work you're doing and you're not having fun, you don't love it. But if you can still go out there and have fun, I saw you playing football, laughing, joking, just being silly, stuff that I would do. And that shows the passion behind that. And I love to see the passion. But because you're silly, I'm going to ask you one of my other questions. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Before I go to the crazy one, I'm going to ask, if you could have a conversation with anyone, famous or not, living or not, who would you have that conversation with?
Hands down, James Baldwin. That's it. I mean, either he, if not the black deity, one of the black deities, and he's really what, outside of some of the readings I read, he is the initial. I feel like he's the initial witness. Like when you talk about who is witness, everybody calls himself a witness, and paying homage to him. I call myself a witness because of James Baldwin. It's like that's why we get into storytelling. That's why it's so important to tell our stories, control our narratives. And James Baldwin was one of the best in terms of capturing the times of the day. And I think that don't get me wrong though, like you had many folk, the Toni Morrisons of the world, right? Who did their thing. And I want to make sure, black women who are writers, get they due as well, because there's a whole bunch, you know what I mean? And one of my favorite writers as a black woman is Paula Giddings. And she's a very dynamic and an amazing writer, and tells, she's a researcher, you could tell. And tell it just like it is. And so again, but if anybody, hands down, James Baldwin.
Okay, I'm loving that. I'm loving that. And I love the fact that you gave love to the sisters too, because a lot of times we as men, we forget that they are just as important and sometimes better than us.
More important. Yeah.
Every time I'm like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And I sit quietly after that. So you being fun and all of that, I'm going to ask you, well, first of all, what's with the flag football? Is that just something you're doing now since you're out of school? Is it, or was that something that you and your friends just get together?
I'm telling you, man. So I'm a type of cat. I'm going to try and live life to the fullest. There are only a couple of things I won't do. I ain't jumping out of no damn plane. And I ain't really getting on a roller coaster anytime soon. I got a crazy amount of fear of heights. But I think outside of that, for me, it's like staying active. I think that, my dad used to always tell me, you're as young as you feel. And so when somebody say, oh, you getting older, I'm like, I still feel like I'm in my 20s. Now, some days, especially because of the pandemic, my muscles are a little tighter than what they usually are. Joints a little bit stiffer because I'm sitting around all day. But before then, no, we played 3 seasons a year, like spring, summer, fall, even sometimes winter over the winter breaks or whatever. And when I say winter breaks, I'm like still thinking like a student right now, but over the winter. And we would, so from basketball to football, I ain't gonna lie. So my team is serious. I don't know if you saw the unis. If you look at the page, pardon the interception, but PTI was like the real deal. So, and all the women on the team, and that's the thing. So talking about women, the guys, got a lot of good guys on the team, but the glue of the team and the reason why we're so good is because the women are exceptional. Like the guys are good, but the women are really good. And because co-ed is like, again, it just shows that, if you're going to do this thing and you're going to do it right, like women are going to play a major role in that. And, but now like that's what keeps us going. And so I'm wondering if we end up going back out there anytime soon, if the women or anybody really going to show up again. Cause I tell you this though, we did have one of the older teams around. And so, it's interesting, but yeah, love flag football, love sports.
I definitely can see the women coming back because, after this, man, any chance I get to go outside. At one point, I was so bored, I was averaging 8 miles a day walking. Just like I wore my gym shoes. Like I wore them down. I was averaging 8 miles a day. And one day, one of my friends walked with me. I did 16 miles. I got cussed out because she did not have the right shoes on.
16 miles. I would have turned around and be like, all right, man. So I don't know where you going, but I got Lyft And even if I got no signal, I'm gonna walk back to where I got a signal, and I'm outie. Like I wouldn't be playing with you walking those 16 miles.
It's funny. I had to take her phone because she tried to call a lift twice, so I had to keep stopping so she could get go grab a snack somewhere. So, that's funny that you said that. Now I'm going to ask you, with all the fun that you have in life, what makes you smile in your private life? Like, who brings you that?
Well, one guy, I'll wake up every single day, and the fact I'm able to, my feet are able to touch the ground. I feel like that's one reason to smile for sure. Somewhere in the Bible it talks about, I forget the actual person, but their feet come up on the bed, and that's them saying, they're actually leaving this earth, right? And so anytime I got a chance to snap up out of that, right, and come up out of my slumber, and Jesus and get the good Lord wakes me up, that would put a smile on my face. But outside, I wake up at 5 a.m. every day and get into the business. I have a very, very supportive woman in my life who really is my backbone. I know people say that, but this is real. She allows me to be exactly who I want to be. And I know a lot of folk got people they with, and people tend to put them in the box because they met them a certain way. But as she's grown, I've grown as well. And I think that's been a big part in having a support system around you. So regardless of what's going on in my life and who's not around me, for the past 4 years, she's been there, and it's been a blessing. But outside of that, my family, my nieces, my nephews, I'm an uncle. I'm an uncle to the core. Uncle Rillo is going to be in full effect, man, cooking, and hosting. And when everything comes back around, man, spending time with my friends, barbecuing like crazy, man. I'm always on the grill, me and my boy Ahmad. So, and kicking it. So I kick it all day, man. I'm from the South, so we going to kick it. That's what we going to do.
I'm a Creole boy, so I appreciate everything that happens. Whenever I get to go there, I'm happy. And I'm going to ask you this because I'm an uncle too. So uncles like to talk a little smack. So I'm going to ask you, who is the messiest, the nephews or the nieces?
Ooh, I got to be real with you. Not because they the ladies, but all of them. They all all of them, because they all be trying to play games with everybody else. And so, I will say my little nephew Keith, he's a bit more like quiet to himself when he want to be. When he get going, he chatty catty. But I think that my little nieces, man, they are something else. But they're a joy though, because my family is pretty much all women too. So I only got like 3 nephews now, 3 nephews, right? But the rest of them I think I got 11 or 10 nieces and 1 great niece. So yeah, there's a bunch of nieces. Yeah.
Kind of flip-flops in our family. At one point for my mom and them, it was more girls. Then for my generation, it's more boys. And as we're starting to have kids, it's more girls again. My poor brother got 4 kids, 1 boy and 3 girls.
Nah, he all right though. He a girl dad. He good. Yeah.
Youngest one gets to be the most. So if you could have a superpower, what would your superpower be?
Man, superpower, that is interesting. I don't know. I feel like right now, to be honest, my superpower is being a healer. I feel like people come to me. I feel like, spiritually, like that's who I am. And a lot of times my friends, I'm always someone they can always been told like, hey man, I can have a, tough conversation with you, or who I just, that was a load for me to get off my burden, to get off my shoulders. And I feel like I've been fortunate enough to kind of take some of that weight and hold on it to people and be somebody that somebody can go to and provide healing in that way. But also, giving advice. I think people, I would like to say I give sound advice because I know what I know, and I ain't trying to tell you something I don't know. I'm speaking from experience. And also at the same time, I always tell people, do your own research. You ain't gotta bank on every word anybody says. But take everything with a grain of salt. And so yeah, like it's been for me, yeah, that's kind of what I would say about that. A healer.
Okay, look, this 30 minutes went by fast. I just realized I got less than 2 minutes left. So do you have any career advice for any youngsters who coming up and they see what you're doing and they're like, man, how can I get involved? How can I be a part of this? What do I need to have in my in my pocket so that I can come up to you and just help?
I know this may seem very like, like duh, but like do, execute. And don't let done is good enough. A lot of times done is good enough. It beats out perfection. We try to hold on to this perfection about what we see on social media. And I think that a lot of us aren't vulnerable enough to say that, yo, I had all these rough times. And because these rough times informed all these golden times you see, but I'm only showing you that. I think that part of it is understanding that you enough, what you got inside you is enough, and it's enough to work from there. And then however you build your team or whatever you do what you do. But as long as you know that done is better than perfection, I think you will be in a good place.
Man, I love that advice. That's the greatest advice that you can give right now, because a lot of these youngsters think everything popped. They think you just jumped up one day and you're there, and they don't realize the digging. Like, even to get to where I'm at right now with the things that I do, people don't realize, man, I fell a few times, I climbed back, I fell a little bit, then I got back up a little higher. You know, there's a lot of give and take when you try to get into anything that you're passionate about. Nothing that you're passionate about comes easy. And I believe that's God testing you to see if you really want it. Because
that's for sure.
Everybody would do it. So that's the only way to find out for sure. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, like I said, this time went by so fast, and I know my producer about to yell at me. That's the lady of my 80, but she makes sure I'm on track until I find me a woman who can keep me on track. Listen to her. But anyway, I want to thank you so much, Cirillo. I had a great time. You gave some really good things.
Likewise.
To my people watching the show right now, as you know, I said every day, every time, live, love, laugh. Live for the moment. Love those who are there for you. Laugh and have fun. Life is too short. Remember, remain stress-free. Hug those people you love. I love you all, and you guys have a blessed rest of your day.